Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends on where you're watching me from. My name is Esther Ibisupe, or otherwise Colored Wonders. Please do like, subscribe, share, and leave positive comments for me. If you only have negative ones or you don't like me, please do me a favor, don't even watch it, because I don't need to disturb you. Sorry. I don't need to disturb you, you don't need to disturb me neither. As you can see today, I decided to hold my microphone because some of you mentioned that you don't hear me clear. I mean, you hear me, but then you have to increase the volume, and apologies because I did have this microphone previously also, just that I had to be bending down, so I think it's better for me if I hold it so that you can clearly hear what I say. Yeah. So, as all of you know, I normally start with the Bible citation. That's just going to be the same today as well. Today's topic is the order of God. And then the first citation is from the Old Testament, in the book of Exodus, chapter 28, verse 1, and it says, "Now take Aaron your brother and his sons with him from among the children of Israel, that he may minister to me as priest. Aaron and Aaron's sons, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. And you shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, for glory and for beauty. So you shall speak to all who are gifted artisans, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister to me as a priest." Yeah, so that's number one. And then the next one I'm going to read to you is also in Exodus, in the book of Exodus, in the Old Testament, chapter 18, from verse 17 onwards. And I'll let you know when I stop here. So from verse 17 it says, "So Moses' father-in-law said to him," that was actually Jethro, just saying it, "The thing that you do is not good. Both you and these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out. For this thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. Listen now to my voice. I will give you counsel, and God will be with you. Stand before God for the people, so that you may bring the difficulties to God, and you shall teach them the statutes and the laws, and show them the way in which they must walk and the work they must do. Moreover, you shall select from all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And let them judge the people at all times. Then it will be that every great matter they shall bring to you, but every small matter they themselves shall judge. So it will be easier for you, for they will bear the burden with you. If you do this thing, and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all these people will also go to their place in peace." So Moses heeded the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. So they judged the people at all times. The hard cases they brought to Moses, but they judged every small case themselves. Yeah, this is actually, it's quite I mean, you can imagine if you think about the present time, and there are governments, there are councils, there are all these things supposed to stand for a purpose and supposed to do a good job, right? But they don't necessarily do anyway. That's just my own point of view. Anyway, yeah. So the next one I'm going to read to you is in the New Testament, in the book of Acts, chapter 16, verse 2. As I said, book of Acts, chapter 16. What am I saying? Chapter 6. Sorry. Chapter 6, verse 2. Just bear with me for a minute. Yeah, you're here, is it? Alrighty. Okie doke. So, and it says, Then the 12 summoned the multitude of the disciples and said, It is not desirable that we should leave the word of God and serve tables. Therefore, brethren, seek out from among you 7 men of good reputation, full of the Holy Spirit and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. And the saying pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, a man full of faith and the Holy Spirit, and Philip, Prochorus, Nicanor, Timon, Parmenas, and Nicholas, a proselyte from Antioch. Apologies my pronunciation as of that. Yeah, whom they set before the apostles, and when they had prayed, they laid hands on them. Yeah, so this is another good example as of order. And then the last one I'm going to read to you is, you find it in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, in the book of Daniel. Yeah. The book of Daniel, chapter 2, from verse 20 till 22. And I read. Daniel answered and said, Blessed the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and raises up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and light dwells with him. So I like all these verses because they actually show that you have to have an order. You have to have an order in place, and even like, let's just use Moses' example. Imagine this, that he had hundreds and thousands of people, if not even millions, under his watch, right? And imagine just you by yourself alone, only alone. You can't do that. As of, you will go counsel them, judge, pray for them, etc., etc. The list goes on, because we are human beings. If we pour into others, we also need to enrich ourselves, otherwise it's not working. And then, as we all know, we can't do this. The only one who was able to do this is Jesus Christ. And even he had to go find quiet places that he would just go pray and spend time with his Father. As our God. So I believe that, yes, God has actually prompted Jethro as Moses' father, to say that look what your son is doing. Like, look at him. He's just gonna get exhausted, and like constantly. And he was like, that's not that's not what I want him to do, because it's one thing he led the Israelites out of Egypt, but it's another thing to continue the journey, but then everybody has to follow God's will. And then again, so that was that's a good explanation, I think. Or if you want to visualize it and like see the work of it all, how he says it, advising his son-in-law to have leaders over all these groups there. He says all the list of how many people, and then if there are small things to judge, they all can do it themselves, and then if there is any bigger ones, significant ones, then those ones they can bring it in front of him, as of let him also judge. And it has really actually worked out. And not to mention, he also assigned his brother Aaron and his sons to go and do the priesthoodship, and that is a very important thing back then. Yes. So, but then I also like the other verses when he's talking about that. He's the one who knows the times, the seasons. He changes everything. He knows everything. It's like it's in his hand. And well, again, as for order, I just want to say this because I'm from Hungary, as I said it to you before. Yeah, and then I grew up in such way that, to me, being on time has always been the must. So it's like, it doesn't matter if I had to run after the bus or get off the tram and then run up to my school, whichever way you find me, that, oh yeah, she's in a rush. But to be honest, to me, so it's just a normal thing, shall I say, is that I respect the school I used to go, or any other thing I would take part, whether it's a conference, whether it's a program, whether it's a wedding, anything. I do respect the people. I do respect whoever is the one who actually organized it, so that I'll be there on time. And then, trust me, since I'm not saying since I've come here, because I can't really say that, but since I've joined my African communities of the church and stuff, I had to learn this otherwise. And I was like, you guys are not serious, honestly. I understand, like, we can all say, oh, it's culture, this, that, even though, let me just put it this way. If it comes to you go to work, you don't dare try yourself to say, oh, just let me just stay half an hour more, a little bit, and just, I'll get up later. Because, if you don't get to work on time, until maybe 1, 2, 3 times, basically they fire you, isn't it? So then I ask the question, why would you do this to God? Whereas God is more important to me. That's something I never understood. Like, I have adapted to the whole thing because, as I mentioned, if we've gone for any wedding or this or that, I just had to get used to the fact that Africans, they are always late. Most of the time they are late. Like, they tell you, oh, it's starting 2 o'clock, they turn up starting it like, let's say 6 o'clock, and I'm like, it's not nice, because let's say if you're a stranger coming for a wedding, and then you expect the wedding to start at so and so time, and you are sitting down, and then you're looking at your watch like, oh, okay, where is the bridegroom, where is everybody, and then you just realize, oh, you have to go because you have kids with a babysitter or something, and then you can't wait, and then it's very disappointing, because you're like, you've planned it, you sacrificed your time, everything, to come and take part in a joyous event. So what I'm trying to say is this, no matter where you come from, which culture, I get it. I have a different one. I'm very strict. I love being on time. That's me. It might not be all of you, but how I see God in the Bible, he's not about, just, how should I say, wasting time around the corner. No, he's really straight on point. And whatever is written down in order. And God is not messing about things. And it's good. I remember there's still one more I wanted to read, because it's really saying it all, actually. Well, important part of it. So that's you find it. The last citation I'm going to read to you is in the New Testament, and it is in 1 Corinthians chapter 14. Pardon me. So you find it in chapter 14, and this is verse 33. Yeah. So please do listen carefully, because it's also very important. Yeah. So it says, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints." And then the Amplified Version says at the end that not just peace, but the order as well. So, because you want to know who's the God of confusion? That's the devil himself, because he likes to make a big mess of everything and anything. Yeah, back to God. So you need to have an order, I think, because if there is no order, then things can easily be mixed up, and it's not right. As I said, for me, sorry. Yeah. As of me, as I mentioned, the order is part of it, is like basic, to be on time, to make sure I prepare myself, and then if that involves my children, my husband, then obviously he will help. We will both get ready, get the children ready, everybody's ready on time. We leave the house on time. Because, you give the respect, but first of all, I would even say it's not about the respect of people. Number one, I think, for us as Christians, and if you're not a Christian, still you can show this to your fellow people, because that's important. But then again, I think for me it's important to respect God in many ways, and it's part of it. Yeah, because which kind of example are we showing to others out there? Like, oh, I can just turn up any time anyway. It's not like that. I can tell you. I laugh at it now, but I don't think it's funny otherwise. When I had my wedding in my church, right? So we started within 10-15 minutes late, because the pastors, they already knew that, as of my husband, he's very timekeeping, so they would rather not try and start it late. So yeah, they were there roughly on time, and then I didn't know, because I didn't even know about the next information that was given to us, because by the time we already left, we done all the pictures, we finished with the event, and then some people turned up to come after us leaving, just for them, so then they can come and eat. I mean, please, come on. Yeah? You don't even respect God, not to mention the couple that is wedded, to come and say, at least show respect, show that, okay, I was here, hello, how are you, I'm happy for you, whatever. It's fine, no problem, you don't have to, because, it's between you and your God. But I know myself, and I know I can say on behalf of my husband, we would never do such thing, because it's wrong. It's wrong. Free food, huh? Honestly. No, it's not nice. And that's why I'm saying, or should I say I'm begging you people. I don't even like to use this term of begging, because I don't like it. A lot of Africans do that. I'm begging you, and I'm like, please don't beg me. Just, talk nicely to me. But seriously, there must be an order. And it's not something that, oh, it's just so much, and oh, I can't do it because I'm always late. And yeah, so maybe, it's like the alarm bell is ringing in your head that, please, wakey, it's time for you to change your ways. No, it's really time for you to change your ways. It's no going around it at all. It's just, the culture, and I'm like, no, it's not. You have come here, that's a different word here. And just as much as I had to adapt to it, you too need to adapt to it. And even though I know, as blessed they can be, African and other communities, that you can all be together in one place as of living around the same area and stuff, and it's nice, don't get me wrong, it's nice. But then also, I would say, try and include other nations, cultures around you, so that all of you are kind of inclusive and nobody feels like, oh, I'm out of it or I'm the odd one or anything as such. But yes, order is important in life. You can't just become anybody without disciplining yourself, without having order in your life. That, oh, today I'm just gonna, let's say I'm just gonna wake up 5 a.m. Oh, good, I've done well done to me. And then tomorrow I'm like, oh, I'm actually tired, let me just, let me just stay in bed. And then you get out of your bed like 7. And then this day you do something totally different again. And it's like you're confusing yourself and your body too. And believe it or not, it's actually good for you as a person, as an individual, to have a routine, to discipline yourself. And I'm not saying that you have to do this all by yourself, because there are some of us who have been coming from a family, a background where everything is talk like this in a line. That okay, what is it? 6 o'clock you do this, 6:20, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and the list goes on. Some of us have not come from that kind of background like myself. I've not come from a place where everything was in perfectly in order, but even now and I would have to say I'm not perfect neither. So when I say, oh, this is also true for me, we all have to play our part, and we all have to try and do our bit, and then ask God to help us out in the other areas where we are not so good. Yeah, that's why I think order is necessary. It is important, because it's like a reassurance also, because then you know that you work with God. God knows that okay, He can trust you because you will actually do the things right. You are able to organize things in a way that is pleasing to Him. And then I like the part of it from the book of Exodus, when it's talking about Moses and the people, how they all need to take part in judging, basically advising, helping, counseling the others. Because when you think about the Church of God ministry and all these things, you can't just do the things alone by yourself, like little finger. Yeah, you can't just do the things alone, because you will break down and probably you run mad, or who knows. But yeah, it's not ideal. It's something you do together with others. And what I would say is that make sure you always have God in the center. Every decision, that's something I grew up with again, but I won't say, because it's between you and your God. My pastor used to say this to us when we were in a youth group, that whatever you do, always make sure you pray and ask God's will, what His will for you, whether He agrees to you to stay in the church, move on to somewhere else, do this or do that,